Hello, and welcome to Voices Unleashed, in which we celebrate singers, artists, and musicians and their influence on our community and beyond. My name is Alexandria Babbel, and today I have with me a wonderful guest, Keith, otherwise known as Papa Thom. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
I'm so delighted to have you here because I know that you are a great supporter of the arts, but also an artist in your own right. And I know that since today is Valentine's Day, we're going to be talking about some love stories of yours. And that's going to be exciting because I'm inspired by love for the arts, love for my one and only, and love for the pupils and those that we bring along with us as we encourage others to perform and express themselves. Start, if you would, with you as a little boy and how your beginnings in music can inspire the rest of us.
Well, my beginnings started because my parents thought that my older brother would be a better musician, so they bought him a guitar.
Oh.
It sat in his closet for 2 years. When I turned 13, I said, "James, can I have that guitar?" He said, "Absolutely." And about 2 years later, I started writing music, and music has just been such a huge part of my life.
Oh, that's so
My
beautiful.
mother and my father were great supporters of the arts. They would come to some of the shows I did in some rather dingy bars.
The gigs you have to get.
And they were so delightful about it. They were just huge supporters. So
well, I think that's really important, having someone to back us up and be our advocate no matter
Yeah.
what. Then as you went along, you became more interested in music. And let's leap ahead a little bit now to, well, tell us about your two love stories that you're going to tell us
Wow.
about. It's Valentine's Day.
Being a bit of a hopeless romantic, I would be happy to share those.
Takes one to know one.
Okay, yes. Well, my wife and I have been together for 16 years.
Aww.
I've known her for 26 years. When she was in a previous marriage, her children and my children went to the same school. Her youngest son's first romantic kiss in high school was with my daughter.
Wow.
So when both of our marriages failed, all 6 of our kids said, "You know, you two are buddies. You should get together." And I went, "No, she's my buddy. I'll never do that." Well, they set us up on a rather serendipitous date one night. And I went to give her a hug goodnight, as I always have, and a little kiss on the cheek. And I gave her a kiss on the cheek, and I said, "Can I come in for one more?" And it was a proper kiss. At that very moment, I'd already known her for almost 10 years. I fell in love with her on the very first kiss. But I was smart enough not to say I love you, because that would be pretty cheesy. So the first song I wrote about her was called Liking Immensely. I didn't want to use the word love.
Aww.
So that's kind of how we've gotten together. She is just the most delightful creature on earth.
What's her first name?
Mary Lynn.
Mary Lynn. Did you hear all that on Valentine's Day? How sweet. Absolutely adorable.
But I think one of the reasons I'm a hopeless romantic is because my father was also a hopeless romantic. He served in the Second World War for 5 years. While he was on leave in England, he met my mother. My mother, who is terribly British, apparently had 2 other people close to proposing to her. And she went, "Hold on. Just in case you're about to ask me what I think you're about to ask me, I have to tell you this. Whomever I marry, I shall be having 6 children. If that scares you, off you go." So 2 of them left, and my father went, "Yeah, let's do it."
Wow.
He was offered a full commission after the war, and he turned it down. He says, "No, I'm going to be rather busy. I'm taking my bride back to Canada, and we are going to make 6 children," and they did.
And exactly 6 they did.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you in the lineup with the 6?
I'm the second youngest.
Second youngest.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
have a sister
amazing.
younger than me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
So
And now let's talk about the music that you're doing at the present time.
it's an interesting one. I wasn't going to go into a studio to record a full CD until my children said, "Dad, you need to leave a legacy," which is why I'm calling the album Legacy.
Oh,
On that album is a song called Grateful Sun, which I wrote at 4:30 in the morning on a beach in southern Spain. I was 19 years of age, and I was missing my parents. And for a 19-year-old to miss his parents, it means he's got pretty darn good parents.
wow, you're a pretty darn good son, too.
So, and just so many of every song on there has meaning to me. And I'm not a rich man, so I'm sorry, children. You'll be getting no money, but you'll have my music.
Oh, it's something. That's pretty good. So actually, we do have a clip of a listening soundbite of one of your songs. Would you please set that up for us?
Well, it's called Be the Change, and I'm a great proponent of positive thinking. For 5 years, I spent driving crisscross across Canada, cooking shepherd's pie in homeless shelters.
Oh my goodness.
And I realized through that whole experience that one person actually can be a change. And so often we look at big pictures to say, this group has to make a change. Well, individuals can make a change.
100%.
I was doing a show one night. I was out tuning my guitar in the back alley and wrote this song on a serviette and came back in and performed it.
Oh,
it just
wow.
flowed through me. Neil Young always had a good saying. He said, I don't actually write the music. I'm just the vessel it flows through.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I love being that vessel.
Oh, that's beautiful. So this song is called Be the Change.
Be the Change.
Be the Change. Let's take a moment and listen to just a few moments of this song.
Lord, I don't believe in sorrow, and I don't believe in misfortune. I will grab the brass ring while it's spinning. I'll be the change I wish to see. I'll be the change I wish to see. I have decided I will embrace life.
Wow, beautiful. It makes me want to hear more. Beautiful. And I'm recognizing a real sense of purpose and philosophy in your music, almost a sense of faith and calling. Can you speak to that?
Well, actually, one of the songs on that album, some people have assumed it is a love song to a person, and it's actually a love song to my perception of God.
Oh, beautiful.
So faith has kept me on the right road for many, many, many years, but it's not a faith that discriminates. So often faith says, well, this religion is better and this religion is better.
Right.
One simply has to have a faith, and I think most people do.
I think that's very true. I think the destructive nature is the othering, them versus us, versus this inclusive way of saying there's love for all. I think that's beautiful, and love for ourselves as well.
Well, I had a friend call me one day, and his mother was not doing well physically.
Mm-hmm.
He was a confirmed atheist. At the end of the conversation, he said, Keith, I said, yes. Would you pray for my mom tonight?
Oh.
I said, I would be honored to do. I certainly did not want to point out the hypocrisy of that statement. But if someone asks me to pray, I'll pray.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so lovely. Now, you told me one other thing right before we started rolling, and I didn't know this about you, but I know it now, that you are the deputy mayor of
beautiful Peachland.
I love Peachland. The deputy mayor of Peachland. What does that position afford you? What does it allow for you to do? And what are your tasks at hand?
Well, I fill in when the mayor is not available. And quite often, believe it or not, even in a small town, we have lots of meeting requests, and he just can't go to all of them.
No, of course not.
So to have consistency, he appointed me, and then the council had to vote to see if that was okay. And they all said, yeah, for $20,000 a year, you're going to do extra work? Perfect. You can have it.
Great.
And I'm a bit of a homebody, so I'm around a fair bit.
Oh, that's great. And so I imagine you're quite active in the cultural scene at Peachland. The little story, we had a little gala planned on the shore in Peachland, one of the largest homes, to support a tour that some of my singers were going on. And sadly, the wildfires were the reason for canceling the event. We never did get to do it, but maybe we'll get to do it in the future now that I know the deputy mayor.
Well, and I could officially dub that and say, hereby.
We hereby officially dub this a thing.
Absolutely.
Right? It's who you know. It's always who you know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like your audience to know? I think we wanted them to know about your tour.
Yes. My tour actually is a good reflection on my father. My father, at age 21, was a lieutenant with the Royal Canadian Dragoons. He was sent at the start of the war to Sicily, and he marched his way all the way up through to Holland, went into a city called Leeuwarden, which I'm probably pronouncing improperly. And I have this spectacular picture of my father on his armored car. And the neat thing about that picture is right in the foreground, there's a picture of this Dutch girl who just has this look of absolute joy on her face, because for years they've been occupied by the Nazis.
Yes.
And then my father showed up. He was 26 years of age when that occurred.
Oh my goodness.
And he was probably one of the most peaceful people. So this year is the 80th year of the liberation of Holland.
Oh.
So I am flying to Holland April 12th. On April 15th is when my father and the Royal Canadian Dragoons liberated the city of Leeuwarden, so they have a separate flag-raising ceremony. And then May 10th is when they celebrate countrywide, so I will be at both of those big events.
Oh my goodness.
I may even be singing a few songs, and apparently there's a television station there similar to yours that's so short on stories, they want to have me on.
I don't know if it's because they're short on stories or because yours is a good one. But
So
at any rate, you're going to be on television there.
And I'm going to stand on the very same corner that picture was, and I will openly tell you and you that I will cry.
Oh,
It
for
will be
sure.
A very emotional time.
Oh, Keith, that's amazing.
And
Thank
the Dutch
you.
people are just so, when I was there 51 years ago as a 19-year-old, I'd have little 5-year-olds tugging at my pant leg going, thank you, sir, thank you, sir.
Oh.
And I thought, you weren't alive and I wasn't alive, and yet you're thanking me.
Oh, they're teaching their young people,
are
lest we
they ever.
Yeah. Right? Oh,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful. Anything else you'd like your audience to know before we close?
Maybe just a little bit more about that album.
Yes, please.
And as you may have gathered from our short, brief meeting, that I'm an emotional being. And this, I don't ever pretend to become the next Gordon Lightfoot of Canada. In fact, funny story, when I was 17, my mother came up to me and said, Keith, dear, in her British accent, you shall never be famous. I said, why won't I be famous, mother? She said, you're mentally well balanced and you're not addicted to drugs. I said, well, I could look after one of those, Mom. And I am quite sure when this album has hit the airwaves that both of my parents are going to look down with a great deal of pride.
Oh.
And another song on that is called Those Were the Days. I lost my next brother up, or two brothers up, a year ago, October. I wrote the first three verses of that song while he was in intensive care for 10 days. Then sadly he passed away, and I finished with the last verse. So some great memories, and it's really a family song. I got to play that at his internment, and so the whole album just is so much me. I really don't care about necessarily the money I would make from the CD. I would like to make some. It certainly cost me some to do it, so
Of course.
I would like to make a little bit, but people have been very, very kind, and the comments I've been getting back have just been so heartfelt, and it always amazes me how I can write a song with one thought in mind, and yet you could listen to it and it would evoke something else in you. And it's really kind of neat to see how people respond to music.
Totally. And the music has that power.
And in fact, tonight at Jack's on the Beach in Peachland, I will be playing some romantic music for the diners.
Well, I was just going to ask you, can we hear you anywhere? And so tonight at
Jack's on the Beach in Peachland.
Jack's on the Beach
And on Sunday, the Royal Canadian Legion in Peachland is very kindly going to host a fundraiser to try to offset some of my costs of going to Holland.
Oh my goodness. And how can people reach you?
They can reach me at papathom.com. They can, and on that website is even my telephone number, my email.
Great.
So it's very easy to get a hold of
Great.
old Papa Thom. Someone once called me a middle-aged hippie, and I said, I'm 70 years of age, so if indeed I am a
Middle-aged
middle-aged I
hippie.
would have to live to 140. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am an old hippie and proud of it.
It has been a delight to have you
Well,
here.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much,
Yeah.
Papa Thom. We look
Yeah.
forward to having you again sometime after
be-
your tour. You
that
can
would
tell
be-
us all about it.
I'll have a few stories.
I'm sure you will, about crying and all the rest of it, of
Yes.
course. And of course, I am so grateful to my producer, RJ, to
Yes.
Kelowna Now, and thank you all for your constancy in watching the show and spread the word, because we are really enjoying having this opportunity to very much celebrate musicians and artists in our region and beyond. So my name is Alexandria Babbel, and again, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time.